Hey everybody, Ben here from The Beard Guys, bringing you 25 tips and tricks for beginners in Delta Force operations. All of these tips apply to every platform, so it doesn't matter what you're playing on, you should find some great advice for getting started in Delta Force extraction. I've been playing Delta Force since it came out, and I've got a ton of experience in learning the ins and outs of the extraction game mode. I've put together 25 of my best pieces of advice for you, covering all sorts of topics and explaining things that I get asked about on stream or in videos all of the time. So first up, let's talk about safe boxes. Your safe box is a secure container, and items you put into this, if you die in a raid, you'll still keep these items. If you have items contained in any of your other areas, so your chest rig, your backpack, or your pocket, when you die in game, you'll lose anything contained in all three of those places. But if you have stuff in your safe box, you'll keep it no matter what. So how do you get a bigger safe box? You start with a 1x2 by default. If you want to get a bigger version, there's several you can choose from. If you click on the safe box, it will show you the different options. The advanced safe box you can unlock tickets for through events, through the free battle pass, through missions. If you're not sure if you've got any to use, go to your landing page, find the collection button and go to items. And then on the access tab, you might see that you have some of these advanced safe box uses that you can use, and that'll give you temporary access for a certain amount of time to the advanced safe box, and that gives you the 2x2. So that's how you get the 2x2, doubling your capacity. If you want to get the 3x2, the premium safe box, you're going to need to buy the battle pass for that season. Once you buy that, that'll last until the end of the current season. You don't need the advanced battle pass that does warfare as well, you just need the one for operations mode. Doing that gives you the 3x2, which is a pretty decent sized safe box. But if you want the big daddy, the 3x3, you're going to have to complete the seasonal missions. You can find these by going to departments, and then on the far right, you'll find the season missions. The other missions stay the same all the time, but on the end, you get season missions. At the moment, it's Season Eclipse Vigil. If you click these, you basically have to complete all of the missions in this entire tree, and then you'll unlock a 3x3 safe box until the end of the season. You'll lose it at the end of the season, have to do this again with the new missions. There's no such thing as a permanent 3x3. Sometimes people call this the perma 3x3, but there's no such thing as a permanent one. You have to unlock it again each season. And that is by completing every mission, not just the middle tree of missions. You have to do every single one. As you go along these missions, though, you will unlock these little things here, which are 1 or 2 day passes for the 3x3. You can see that's what I'm actually using at the moment. I've still got a handful of missions to finish off, but because I've unlocked some of these temporary passes, if I go back to my stash, I still have 23 and a bit hours left of this 3x3 that I can use, and when that runs out, I'll have to use one of my other safe boxes. Another important thing to know about in your stash or on your person is your key card holder. By default, you'll just have a 4-slot basic card holder. If you want to upgrade this, you can get a 6-slot card holder, which you can see is what I have here. And in order to actually unlock this, this is again through missions, but not seasonal missions. This is through some of the normal missions. If you go to departments and mission again, go to Assault Battalion, and it's actually the head-on assault mission you have to complete. You can see here, kill 5 enemy soldiers in the main building of admin on 0 dam, any difficulty. You can see that unlocked the advanced card holder for 365 days. I'm not sure what you're going to do once that runs out. Hopefully there'll be another mission for it. And you have to unlock this mission by working through the previous ones. You can see it's actually quite far along the tree. You can go to the tree and look at where it comes up. It's a main tree one, so the green marked ones, main missions, and if you go along, you can find it here. So quite a way along, fairly near the end of this tree, but if you work through these missions, you can get this unlocked fairly easily. On top of the 4 and the 6 slot card holders, there are 9 and 12 ones that you can get as well temporarily. You can go here, click obtain, and then they're found in the T&E lab, and then you need to go to card holders, and you can see them both here. These are both 30-day access to the premium, which is the 9, and the top, which is the 12. You have to hand in items. You can see down the bottom here, items required. I have to buy those. I own the red one already. I could buy the other two, 600k. The military control terminal is about 400k. So this is going to cost you about $1 million to buy to get 30-day access to the 9 card holder, which isn't bad if you've got a bunch of money. I've never really bothered. I'm perfectly happy with the 6, but you could see that kind of working. The top card holder, this gives you 30 days of 12 card slots. And at the moment, that would cost me $3 million to buy, and I already own some of the bits in it, so probably $3.5 million to buy for a 12-slot card holder. Personally, I don't think it's really worth it. I never really feel like, oh, gee, I wish I could carry 12 keycards on me at any one time. But if you got a load of money and you love keycards, then that's always an option for you. But that will expire after 30 days. Next up, I wanted to talk about one of the biggest things new players ask about in this game. What should I keep and what should I sell? Lots of people start running out of stash space. They're not sure whether they need to sell things to get money, whether they need to keep stuff to use for upgrades. What I would advise you to do when you're playing early on is try to keep stuff that you think you might reuse in battle, because that's where a lot of your costs come in. When you're buying guns, when you're buying ammo, when you're buying meds, particularly ammo if you're buying purple or above, that stuff can get very, very expensive. So if you've managed to loot or acquire through missions stuff that you think you might be able to use in a round, then hold on to that, because it's going to be cheaper than you going out and buying stuff to use yourself. Armor, gear, bags, all that kind of stuff, also very useful to hold on to. As long as it isn't completely trashed in terms of durability, you might as well take it out and use it. On top of that, there's some items that are handy to hang on to that you might need for a Blacksite upgrade. We'll talk about those a bit more in a minute, but have a look at what your next upgrade is going to use. And if you're keen on getting that done, then you can always try and hang on to those items. Particularly, you can see I need the smoothbore, 3 of these mill satellites, and a couple of other things for this upgrade. Obviously, finding them in game would be more cost effective than buying them from the auction house, because when we sell things at auction, you lose a fee. So selling it at auction would give you less money than it would cost you to buy this at auction if you wanted to buy this. You can buy these items. They don't need to be unbound. That means you can just go and buy these from the auction house to do these upgrades. That's not a problem. You don't have to loot them in game, but it will of course be cheaper to loot them in game. So hang on to stuff that you might need for an imminent stash or whatever Blacksite upgrade, or if there's an expansion crate or something you want to get. I wouldn't worry too much about holding on to every single item you might need for a distant upgrade, because you might find it's going to take you quite a long time to get there, and you might just need the money beforehand as well. Other stuff that's useful to hang on to is stuff that's used for crafting in your Blacksite. Again, we'll talk about that in a minute. Stuff like these E-type canisters, premium ammo parts, premium coffee beans, programmable processors, gold havoc files, and of course drip coffee. All of this is used for crafting things in your Blacksite, and hanging on to those and crafting things with it is pretty cost effective. So hang on to those unless you particularly need the money. As for what you should sell, well, pretty much anything else. Keycards, it's up to you whether you want to use them or not. I find you do generally get a return on using them, but they're also very good ways of getting a quick bit of money if you found a valuable one in game. Keep in mind that when you list stuff for auction, you actually pay a fee to do that. You can see this SLR camera, for example, will get 105k immediately if I sell it through the supply station, or if I put it in the auction house, I might get 115k. But it's not guaranteed to sell. And if we go to look at the information here, you can see we're actually paying 4,000 just to list it here. And then there's a fee taken off. It's been listed at 132. The actual revenue I get is 115. But if I put this up for sale and it didn't sell, and then I had to relist it, we've already lost 4,000. So that's 111. And that's actually putting us very close to what we would have got from supply stations. So when these two numbers are quite close, I'd normally just do a supply station and sell it quickly. If you want to try and get things to sell a bit more quickly as well when listing them at auction, go to the auction page and then just knock it down 2 or 3, and that'll make sure your price is the lowest available, and then that'll probably sell quite quickly. Of course, it's entirely up to you what you want to keep and sell, but I think that's generally a good guide. Stuff that is bound, by the way, like this. You see the white icon in the bottom of this bag. You'll see this icon on things you've bought from the auction house. So for example, if we just go and buy a random thing here for a minute, that's got a little mark here. That means I can't sell that back at auction. I can only sell it to the supply station. Obviously, it doesn't matter with this because it's cheap, but it means you can't buy stuff and resell at auction. Whereas this damaged imager here, this is something I extracted with from in-game, so I can sell that to supply station or I can list that at auction. That's what bound and unbound means, is this little white icon in the bottom left of the item here. There's also some things that just can never be sold at auction, whether you've extracted with them or not, particularly craftables, stuff like red bags, gold rigs, red armor, and certain special items like these intermediate ammo production parts. Another thing worth remembering is when you list stuff in the auction house, if it doesn't sell, it's going to be listed here under your auction slots and it'll be stuck there until you manually remove it. You can see I've actually got a damaged thermal imager here, which is expired, and that's going to take up one of my limited number of auction slots, until I click remove here, and then I can relist it. If you want to get more auction slots, then you're going to need to go to your Blacksite, upgrade your CCHQ. By getting that up to max level, you can get an extra 10 auction slots. Another big question from new players is, how do I get a bigger stash? How do I upgrade my stash? You can see I've got quite a bit of stash space here, and I've also got all these extra pages of loot along the side here. These are called expansion crates, and this is your main stash. In order to get more space, you go to your Blacksite and you upgrade your stash. Mine is currently level 8. There are some more upgrades to go, which are very, very expensive. By upgrading your stash here, that will give you extra stash space in your main stash, which is this big page here, and it will give you extra slots along the side here to add expansion crates. Expansion crates are extra tabs for your stash that can store one particular type of item. This is an ammo crate. It can only take ammo. This is a med crate, it can only take meds. You can see I can't put the meds into the ammo crate. They can only go into this or back into my main stash. Likewise, I've got one for weapons, one for gear, which is wearable, so helmet, vest, rig, and bag. Another gear crate as well, a material crate, which is for general collectibles, stuff like that. And then a collection crate, which is for red and gold collectible items only. In order to get these expansion crates, they can be quite expensive to buy. You gradually unlock better and better ones by completing missions in the game. So you go to the missions tab, work your way through these different missions here. What that's going to do is level up these different things. So by doing these Beyond Lifeline missions, you'll level up your medical bay. You can see I'm level 3. If I go to supply station and go to the equivalent medical bay and then to med crates or material crates, you can see I've got different ones I've unlocked at different levels. That's where I've got my premium med crate. If we go back and go to material crate, you can see I've still got one left to unlock here, the GTI, for when I get it to max level. These go up in tiers that get more and more expensive but offer much better capacity. You can see 144 slots in that one, but it would cost me absolutely tons to buy. You can see this premium material crate here actually uses this vacuum that I have already, but that's about 6.5, 7 mil, that item, plus another 2 mil. So that's about 9 mil to get that material crate. And some of the other ones also very, very expensive items. So each of these different tabs has different ones. You can go along and have a look through. There's ammo crates, like I said, gear crates, collectible crates, and it's up to you what you want to use. When you get them, you drag them into these slots here, and then you can use that as extra storage space. There is a free ammo crate you can get. It doesn't have a ton of slots, but if you do want to get a free ammo crate, there's a series of keycard puzzle missions you can do on Zero Dam and then onto Laeli Grove, and in doing so you'll unlock a free ammo expansion crate. I won't go through that in detail today because it's a bit long-winded, but I've got separate videos on that I'll put a link to down below. Check out the Zero Dam All Secrets and Laeli Grove All Secrets videos. Some items in the game are unbuyable. It's worth knowing what these are. Some of them you might need to acquire, some of them you might need to craft. Some of these are items you get via the supply station. For instance, stuff you might use to craft. If we go and look at the vest here, and heavy assault vest, for instance, we need these titanium alloy. We can't loot these in game. We can't buy these from the auction house. What we have to do is go to the medical bay, and then we have to exchange other items, and it will give me some of these. It will give me 4 at a time when I exchange a programmable processor and an orange energy gel. Don't worry about the purchase limit, that refreshes every day. You're not really going to run out there, but these are some of the items you can't find in-game or buy at auction. If you need these for crafting, you'll have to buy them from Medical Bay collectibles. There's also some items you can only find in-game that you can't buy in auction that are very rare and used for high-end crafting. For instance, if you want to craft a red vest like this, you're going to need to get mechanical worker bee models. In order to get these, you're going to need premium coffee beans. These are a very rare spawn. I do actually have some of these at the moment, which I found on Space City hard mode. You can't buy these at auction. You can only loot them in game. You can find them in flight cases and also large weapon crates. Same goes for premium ammo parts. These are used for crafting red ammo, the highest tier ammo in the game. You can only loot these in game. You can't buy them. And you can find these in flight cases, particularly on normal mode, and you'll find them even more again on hard difficulty. On top of that, there's the 2 rarest items that you can't buy that you have to find in game. One of those is the SATCOM antenna, and one of those is rocket fuel. These are both found only on Space City, and they're used for quite high tier Blacksite upgrades. The SATCOM is used for upgrading your CSD, which can give you some really significant boosts to your stamina and stamina recovery. And then the rocket fuel is used to upgrade your stash to get to level 8, where I am now, and is notoriously hard to get because it's such a large item you can't fit it inside your safe box. You have to use a proper extract to get it out, and Space City is a pretty tough map. So a lot of people are out looking for rocket fuel and the SATCOM. If you want some more help on those, I've got a dedicated guide going over all the different spawn locations for rocket fuel and SATCOM, so go check that out. I'll put a link down below. All the maps on Delta Force Operations also contain certain Easter eggs that you'll find these locked rooms with keypad doors where you have to find codes located around the map, or maybe solve a puzzle, listen to some Morse code and decipher it. And you can also just find boxes with skins and bonus items hidden around the maps. I've got dedicated videos on these for each of the maps, so if you're confused by any of them, go check out the links down in the video description. It tells you all about the ones on Zero Dam, for instance, where you can get free gold armor, gold vest, gold helmet, gold bag, all sorts of cool stuff, and some free gun skins. It's worth knowing the basics of how bullet penetration and armor works in Delta Force. Armor and ammo, like all the other loot in the game, is divided into different tiers, ranging from grey to green to blue, purple, gold, and then red. When you're shooting at armor that is 2 tiers below your ammo level, so for example, gold ammo shooting at blue armor, that ammo will completely ignore the armor and you'll do 100% of your normal damage. If you're shooting at armor that's just 1 tier below your ammo level, so gold ammo versus purple armor, you'll do 75% of your normal damage until the armor is broken, and it gets broken by reducing its durability to 0. Shooting at armor of the same tier as your ammo type, so gold ammo versus gold armor, you'll do 50% damage until the armor is broken. And then shooting at armor above your ammo tier, so gold ammo versus red armor, will do 0 damage until you break the armor. There are a few weird ammo types that work slightly differently, such as rip ammo that does extra hit point damage but does less armor damage and has less penetration, but the numbers mentioned before cover 95% of the different ammo types in the game. Armor will only affect the areas it's shown to cover, by the way, so when vests show that they cover the upper arm or the abdomen, that is an armored body location, but stuff like your lower limbs and your lower legs are never going to count as armored. The base damage shown for different weapons when you're looking in the gunsmith is the damage it does to the upper torso. You can see the M4 here does 29 damage, but if you want to see that in a bit more detail, you can scroll down and go to the details tab, and here it will show you the different damage you'll do to different body parts. The base damage that it shows is for hitting the upper torso. You'll do slightly less damage for hitting the abdomen, much more damage you can see for hitting the head, 55, and then significantly reduced damage for hitting limbs. You can see 11 for hitting limbs. Keep in mind a player has 100 hit points, so 55, 2 of those hits will kill an unarmored player. You can also see on this page in-depth details about gun stats, handling, stability, recoil, as well as the damage drop-off over range. This damage fall-off multiplier, this is showing how much the damage is dropping off once you've gone over the listed effective range of the M4 with its current attachments, which is 40 meters in this instance. Tactical armament vouchers are something you gradually acquire through lots of events as time goes on. These can be a little confusing when you're first playing. It's not very clear what you're meant to do with these, but you'll gradually acquire these, and if you go to the events tab and the season tab, you can find the tactical armament page here. If you click this, and then you can do sign, and this will give you some free rewards. You can get skins, you can get boxes of loot you can use in-game. You can see here, if you click this little button, it shows you stuff you can get and stuff that you've got already, so you don't get duplicates. And if I open this, I can get any of these different cosmetics, as well as these boxes containing different rewards I can open in-game. So if we go down here, we can open 10 at a time. We can see we've got some new skin here. We can do skip, and it will show us we've got a bunch of these rubbish green boxes, but you can get better stuff. We got one more, and we get a slightly better one. We got a blue one there. If you want to then use these, you go back to your collection, go to items or firearms, you can see the new skin. Items, you can see I've got 129 of these green boxes, but we can go and find that blue one that we just got, which is this one here. Use that to claim the premium supply pack. Click OK. That's going to give us this red box, which we can open, and we could get some ammo or a gold bar or some boosts or something like that. Now, looking at more in-game stuff, your Safebox is very useful to use, not just for putting valuable items in when you find them during a raid, but also for going in with stuff in your Safebox at the start and managing your money in every game you play, particularly with ammo. Ammo is a very expensive thing to buy in the game, especially when you're moving up from blue. Purple ammo and gold ammo, very, very expensive to use, but very effective. So rather than going into game with 3 or 4 stacks of purple ammo or even blue ammo, whatever, sitting in your pocket, it makes you very vulnerable. Whilst that is nice and quick to reload, it means if you get killed, you're going to lose all of that ammo. What most players tend to do when using expensive ammo is they'll have their gun loaded, maybe a small amount of that ammo in their pocket, and then most of the rest of that ammo hidden in their safe box. This means that if you die, you're only going to lose a maximum of a few rounds or 1 stack of your nice ammo, and then the rest of that is safe in your safe box, and you're going to keep it and save yourself a lot of money. You can directly reload from your inventory as well by just dragging the ammo onto your gun, so you don't have to take it out, reload, and put it back. But this is a great habit to get into, and over the long run, once you get used to it, it will save you a ton of money. This is also why lots of people you kill don't really seem to have much ammo on them, because they're all keeping it in their safe boxes. Keycards in Delta Force can make you a lot of money, either by selling them or using them to find rare loot, or sometimes just getting you access through different routes that you couldn't go through before. If you want to find keycards in-game, they spawn in a couple of particular locations. Clothing items are a primary spawn location for keycards, so always search clothing items and you might find a keycard. On top of that, they can also spawn on desks and tables, so keep an eye out when you're going around looking for little things sitting on tables. There's certain places where keycards do tend to spawn, so always have your eye out for little things lying on tables. You can also find them on the bosses as well. If you kill one of the bosses, make sure you search them, and they can drop rare keycards. When you've killed some enemy players, or even sometimes bots, and you're looting equipment, make sure you remove attachments from a gun. If you don't want to take a whole gun, you don't have space perhaps, click on the gun and see what attachments it has. If it has some rare ones that you might want, take a couple of those. That's only going to take up 2 or 3 slots, and you don't need to take the whole gun. And you might even be able to put those attachments onto a gun you already have to save more inventory space as well. On top of that, make sure you unload the gun's ammo, because it could have some valuable ammo loaded into it, particularly if you kill a boss like Saeed on Zero Dam. He can be carrying very high tier ammo that can be worth a lot of money. When you're doing one of these safe supply missions, including opening the bank vault on Zero Dam, you can actually get through it a little quicker using a nice little trick. When you're doing the mini game where you have to hit space to hit the bar at certain points to unlock each safe, once the progress bar for that hits 100% and says unlocked, you can just actually hit escape straight away to close that little window and move on to the next safe. And it just saves you waiting for like half a second or a second for this little animation to finish playing. Doesn't seem like a lot, but if you do that for every safe and you save yourself 5 seconds, that 5 seconds could save your life. Jumping back over to our Blacksite now, this is a great way to make yourself some money or save yourself a ton of money. As you upgrade your Blacksite, particularly your pharmacy, workbench, armor bench, and cyber warfare, that'll unlock more things you can craft on the production page. You can see here we can craft guns and attachments in cyber warfare, ammo in your workbench, meds, syringes, and repair kits in your pharmacy, then armor bags and rigs in your armor bench. Some of this stuff can make you a ton of money or save you loads of money. I've got another video going into full details on that, so go check that out for a bit more context. And I've also got a spreadsheet you can download a local copy of from Google Drive, and because the auction prices fluctuate all the time, if you download a local copy of that, update with the current prices, you can find out what the most profitable thing to craft is at any given time. Often crafting stuff like different types of purple ammo, different types of gold ammo, and then selling that because it will be unbound. You can sell it at auction. You can often make anywhere from 750,000 to 1 million credits a day just by crafting and selling ammo. You can also make a bit of money by crafting certain vests and armor as well. Or what I tend to do is craft stuff that I'm going to use. So if I craft a bunch of gold ammo here, for instance, this 5.8 I've been crafting, this 45 purple I've been crafting. This is ammo I use a lot, and by crafting it instead of buying it, this is probably costing me maybe about 2,000 to 2,500 per round rather than 4,500. Again, for this stuff, it's costing me at least half the normal cost compared to buying it. So if you craft stuff you use, it will save you spending money and help you build up that cash. If you want to save yourself money when you're getting geared up, you don't have to buy brand new armor. If we go to gear here and vest, you can see 140k for this vest, which isn't actually too bad to be fair. 329k for this elite vest. If we didn't want to spend that, see that's 95 durability. If we go to nearly new at the top here, you can see we can get one for 280, so that's 50k less, and it's only 15 less durability. There you go. You can see this purple vest has gone back up to 240k, which is a much more normal price, and that's for a brand new one. Again, if we go to nearly new, that's almost 100k less for this nearly new one. 93 durability versus 110 durability, so you can save huge amounts of money. You can do this also with damage, so they go even lower. We can get this elite vest down to 230, or the damaged purple down to 82, but that is a 77 durability vest. But definitely something worth keeping in mind. It is a lot cheaper to use nearly new stuff than it is to use new stuff. There's also a new function where you can use this in your loadouts page. Now, if we go to select a map, for instance, and then do gear up, we go down to the loadouts tab. On this page, you have these slots here where you can customize loadouts and save them for quick rebuying of kit you want to use. What you can do now with this is you can actually set it to buy used stuff rather than using new gear. So for instance, this one here, purple used, I've got set up. We could have it buying the training helmet here. We'll put this on and that would cost us 332k for it to buy all this stuff. We don't need to buy a vest because it's pulling one in here that we already own. But if I actually change this helmet and we go, okay, we don't want a new one, we want a used one, we can click the little shopping trolley icon next to equip and then select nearly new. And then you can see the value of that has gone down. And if we save that, then that is going to save that loadout. And every time we go and buy it, it's going to buy a nearly new thing rather than a brand new thing and make these loadouts nice and cheap. There's another really handy setting to know about for this page that is newly added in. If we go back to settings and you find the one for limit med durability in loadout under system, by default, it's actually on 0. And if I put it down to 0, and we go back to our loadouts here, you're going to see when I select this purple loadout, it's going to try pulling in this outdoor med crate here. That's on 195 durability, a painkiller on 1 out of 5 here. And again, this painkiller 2 out of 3. And sometimes it can be kind of annoying when it starts pulling in stuff that's like 1 out of 4. You wouldn't want to take it in. You know, look, gold used, it's pulling in a 22 durability vest repair. That's no use at all. And if we change this setting we just mentioned, if you move this up to 75, this is basically saying any meds, which includes repairs, need to be 75% durability or higher. Otherwise, it won't try and pull them in to a loadout. So if we go back to loadouts now and go to the gold one, you're going to see it's not going to use that old premium vest repair. It's going to buy a new one because that was under that 75% threshold. Again, same for the med above. It's using a new one now. Same for the painkiller, it's buying a new one. So great setting to know about if that's been an issue for you. And if you use loadouts, then it probably has. On the subject of loadouts, you can also access the gear set page from here. Gear tickets are a great way of going in with no risk. These are free tickets you can go in with and try and make some money. You can refresh these by clicking on these little icons here. It will cost you a small amount of alloy to refresh it and get a different option. There's a few different presets under each tab. Recruit ones, it just gives you more all the time, and you can have a maximum of 10. Standard, you can have a maximum of 5. You gain these normally through events and battle pass, so you get them fairly often, but not as often as recruit. And then elite, you don't get these very often at all. These are quite rare and very high-end kits that you can take into any difficulty in the game. Something that's useful to know about these is that once you equip one of these, you can't then edit the kit. So if I equip this survival kit here, for instance, this elite one, I can't then change what's in my bag. I can't go, oh, I want to take a different backpack or whatever. You're locked into just taking exactly that kit, but you can edit what's in your safe box. So if I wanted to take in some better ammo, because some of these kits are kind of crazy with their ammo, like this is a really quite a high-end kit, and it's bringing in a mag of purple. You've got purple ammo loaded into the gun and 30 of it there, but then the rest is all blue ammo. And if I just wanted to bring in purple ammo because blue would be pointless, then I can bring in a load of purple here, and we can use this in the round as we want. And this works for any of the tiers of gear tickets. You can do this with the basic ones and bring blue ammo, or the higher tier ones and bring purple or gold ammo. The loadout page also has another handy thing you can use it for. You can use it for previewing rig and bag loadouts. So they all have slightly different looks to them. If I go to this loadout here, for instance, you can see this assault rig here has this sort of shape to it. And if I want to look at different rigs before I just buy them in the auction house, I can go through any of the rigs here, do equip, and just see what it has. This terrible one here has 6 single slots. If I scroll down and go for the GIR, the biggest one you can buy from auction, this has these 2 nice 2x2s and 4 1x3s. And you can do the same with bags as well. We can go through and look at some of the smaller bags here. We can select some of the ones that we might not want to use, like the dash and stuff with this weird like segmented areas here. So a really handy way of just having a quick look at different backpacks and seeing what ones are kind of horrendous and you might not want to use. It doesn't do this for every rig and bag in the game. It's only the ones you can actually buy. So stuff like gold rigs and some of the red bags you can't actually view here, but it's a handy way of looking at most of the ones available. Moving quietly through the map is a real great way to help you stay alive. Giving away audio cues will lure other teams over to push you, or even if they don't push you, it gives away intel on your position that they can use against you to their advantage. Try not to shoot bots unless you really have to. If you do have to, use a suppressor, but ideally try and either avoid them or stab them. If you're playing as an operator with flashes or smokes, that makes that a lot easier, or if you're Hacklaw, you can use your data knife. But getting in the habit of stabbing bots rather than just shooting them is a real good way to not make yourself look like a noob. Using melee is also a great way to deal with some of the tougher bots like the juggernauts, the big armored guys with the miniguns. A couple of hits to the head with most of the melee weapons will kill those, which can be a lot easier than shooting them. And this even works very well against bosses as well. Saeed has killed me so many times that I've been trying to shoot him, but actually if you just smoke him and run up and start hitting him with your melee, you can often kill him much easier without spending a load of ammo and getting hit and breaking all of your armor. Again, you can do this with smokes or stuns, and also against the shield guys. If you do need to shoot the shield guys, rather than trying to shoot them in the feet, just try and pop a single bullet through the little eye hole and hit them in the face, and you can take them down very, very quickly. Hearing range is something to be very aware of in this game. You can hear people from a long way away in Delta Force operations, and on top of that, there's also a lot of hearing buffs in the game that can mean you can hear even further. A lot of the helmets in the game give hearing buffs. You can see, for instance, this blue one here. This gives a 20% hearing range buff, and then noise reduction reduces background noise, so like wind noise and stuff like that might distract you, making that audio more clear for you as well, especially useful with the boosted hearing that you get. And there's even bigger ones today. You can see this purple helmet here gives you a 50% hearing range bonus. And again, some of the gold ones, this one here gives you a 40% hearing range bonus. So some big hearing range bonuses out there. On top of that, you can also get stims that give you another hearing bonus on top of that, perception boost here. So keep in mind when you're running around, walking around, firing a gun, rustling in bushes, and then suddenly people come up on you and shoot you and you wonder what on earth happened, remember that they could have heard you from really far away unless you are moving very quietly. On the subject of moving very quietly, there's a few different ways to do it. Obviously, you have full sprint, which is very noisy, and then normal walking, which is a step down. You can then crouch to go slightly more slowly, and also then you can tap caps lock to toggle sneak, and you'll move even slower still and very quietly. If you then ADS, while sneaking and crouching, you'll move even slower. And then if you actually lean at the same time, you'll move even slower still, but you are barely moving at this point. You can also stand up while you're sneaking as well. And there's a couple of operators that have some help with this. Hacklaw has a passive which will always crouch, walk, and sneak more quietly than other operators. And Nox has an ability that he can trigger that lasts for a short period of time where he will move completely silently even if he's full sprinting, but it does make a noise at the start that will alert enemies nearby that a Nox has triggered that ability. So they will be on the lookout, but they won't hear you coming. Keeping an eye on the map can be very advantageous for you. If you look at the map at the start of the game and throughout the duration of a raid, you can get some indication of what's going on from that. Certain things will appear and disappear. For instance, you can see what missions you'll have at the start, and if you see one of those missions disappear, you know that a team has been there and has triggered that. Also, you'll see certain other indicators like extractions that might have a limited number of uses, so you can see that someone might have used an extract without you having to go there and witness that happening. And the map can also tell you where valuable loot items are, like safes, which will tell you maybe a hotspot the players might head to, or somewhere you might want to go to if you're nearby. Learning player spawn locations on the maps is really useful. There's only a finite number of them. You normally get 6, perhaps 5 teams spawn on a map. And on a map like Zero Dam, you'll get 3 teams spawn on each side usually. Knowing where these potential spawn locations are is really handy. You know where you might be vulnerable from early on in the game, and you can listen out or watch out. There's a few different interactive map sites you can use in order to have a look at these. There's not too many to learn, so it's good to get in the habit of being aware of what these are. And you can then combine that with using audio cues. If you hear some shots going off to your south, you know that, okay, there's one team's down there. If you've killed one team that's up near you, then you're like, okay, we know the location of every team on this side of the map at this early stage of the game. And you can make informed decisions based on those audio cues. Your minimap can be pretty helpful as well. You'll see little red crosses indicated on this from time to time. When it's a hollow red cross, this means that it's an AI bot that you've killed. And when it's a filled in red cross, this is a player kill, marking the location where their body currently is. These will all disappear after a little while, and the player crosses will disappear once you either loot that body or move that body. But these are really useful for finding bodies if you've been in a fight for a little while and you weren't sure where someone crawled off to and died. it'll show you where they are so you can go and loot them. Some maps on the game, like Space City and Lighty Grove, have areas that are blurred on the minimap, so you don't get any tracking of where you are. It can be quite hard to find your way around when you're unfamiliar with those areas. A great little tip to know when you're in one of those blurry areas, if you ping on the ground where you're standing, which is clicking the middle mouse button on PC, by pinging that marker, you can then pull up your map and it'll actually show the location of that marker on the map so you can see where you are at any time. Really handy tip for when you're moving in these blurry areas. It's always worth keeping an eye on what events are currently on. There's often events that trigger things to happen in game that can give you some really good loot. Sometimes it will be helicopters of enemies that drop down, and killing them can give you some really great gear. And other times you'll get these supply drops that'll come down. They play really loud music so you can hear them from quite far away. And these can also drop really great gear. You can also ping these when they're in the air if you're close enough. And then when it lands, you'll have a marker actually on it once it's on the ground. You hear them come down from miles away. They're very loud. So if you do hear the audio cue going for an airdrop coming down, have a look around in the sky and see where it's coming down. So that's everything for today. If you found the video useful at all, then drop a like and a sub, and why not check out some of my other tips and tricks guide videos for Delta Force operations, covering a ton of different topics. Thanks so much for watching. My name's Ben, we are the Beard Guys, and I'll see you next time.